Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Titus Bramble, and welcome to Wololos here at Best Boys Sports. What a game we have in store for you today. We have the Erfanator versus Macsen Bryn Bowen for the hotly anticipated charity 1v1. I'm joined here by JWGHD and Dan Moz. How are you doing, gents?
Doing good, thank you. How are you doing, my good sir?
Very excited today, very excited. So, Morris, do you mind explaining how today's setup works?
Yeah, absolutely, Cameron. So today we've got a random land map. It's gonna be 200 population, conquest rules, and yeah, it looks like it's gonna be a good one. We've got a charity pot of £15, so it's gonna be very exciting indeed.
Huge. Joel, how do you see today's game going?
It's too hard to predict, to be honest with you. On one side, you've got Jamie, who is a relatively inexperienced rookie, but is actually bringing a lot of surprises into this community. Versus Erfan, who has been around for probably longer than the game's existed. I have no idea. If I was a betting man, I would bet on a draw.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, definitely.
Very good.
Okay. So I think, we've got quite a tight matchup today. It's going to be very difficult to separate these two incredible players. I mean, that's seen perfectly by their ELO. They're very similar ELO, only 15 points in it. Interestingly, though, the Erfanator does have a lot more in-game hours. Do you think his experience is going to show today, Dan?
I think his experience will show today. But I think the unpredictability of Macsen Bryn Bowen will also come into play.
Yeah,
who knows?
That's demonstrated by this. You can see that Macsen Bryn Bowen already has 2 wonders compared to Erfan 0, despite that relative lack of game time. We can see their favourite units here. The Erfanator is likes to play those monk saves in Spanish, etc. He loves trying to convert units as much as he can. Jamie is more of a siege specialist, trying to build those bombard cannons, but will he be allowed to get to the Imperial Age and build as many bombard cannons as usual today, or will we see Erfan rushing early? Joel?
It's hard to predict. Again, if I was a betting man, I would probably go for a draw. At the end of the day, if Erfan's able to rush with his monk army, then he could convert everything that Jamie has in his path within minutes.
All right, and I mean, we know they're close teams, and this is just shown further by this last fact. There's nothing to separate them in terms of cubes. Nothing to separate them at all. So, how important is the early game today, Dan?
The early game is very important because without the early game, there wouldn't be a late game. So the person that wins the early game will have an advantage in the late game for sure.
Fantastic. And I think we've seen in previous matches that maybe Jamie probably has that slight advantage in the early game in terms of his economy. He's been very strong, working hard on his farming, but he doesn't play very aggressive. And I think if Erfan's going to win this game today, he needs to shut down that economy early on. Maybe try a quick rush, try and slow Jamie down, because we know if his economy gets too large, he's just going to run away in the late game. What do you think, Joel?
No, I think it's a really good point. I mean, Jamie is a force of nature. Once he has that strong base, he's going to be able to build an army that is going to really kind of outstrength Erfan and anything in his path. It's all about that early game, and I think Erfan's got to, take that sort of advantage that he has in terms of building that first bit of strength going forward. And I think it's all to play for, really, Cameron. It's really hard to predict. Again, if I was a betting man, I'd be going for a draw here.
Yeah, it's going to be a fantastic match. We're all looking forward to it. We're going to have some further in-depth analysis from Dan after a quick break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Remember the bog-off offer from SafeStar UK? Well, it's back!
You know the one. You buy one, you get one free. I said you buy one, you get one free. Right now, for every single window door that you buy, I'll give you another one absolutely free.
And you can still buy now and pay next year. Plus, there's flexible monthly payments to suit you. And SafeStyle are still giving you free fitting.
Trust me, it's free fitting. So call 0800 106 107. I said 0800 106 107 now.
Welcome back to Best Boy Sports. So now we've got our in-game tactician, Dan Moz, has got a bit of further analysis, in-depth analysis of how this game might play out. Dan, over to you.
Hi, Daniel. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Joel. Really great to
This match has the potential to be a close contest, doesn't it? What do you think will be key to separating the two opponents?
That's exactly right, Joel. This could be a close one. Now, we've played a lot with these two over the course of the last few months in team games and free-for-alls, but what we haven't seen is how these players perform in a 1v1 scenario. So we can expect that the game might start off as a cagey affair, both teams potentially skirmishing and sniffing each other out, but not wanting to make the first move. However, there is always the chance that the players are fired up for the big game and are aggressive from the get-go. Anything can happen in these kind of matches, and the game really could go a number of ways. Now, as for what these players can do to get the edge on the opponent, I think control of gold sources will be critical here, and the player with the most secure sources of gold will likely go on to win. Both players love to use gold-intensive power units, but there is of course no trade in a 1v1 game, so there is only so much gold in the map. Players will need to be expansive and territorial, secure as many gold piles as they can, and be prepared to protect their gold from any raids from the opponent. Now, as the only renewable source of gold in a 1v1, relics could prove to be a tipping point if this does go into the late game, and it will be in their interest to collect as many as possible. We know Erfan is particularly good at focusing on relics early on, so this could prove to work in his favour. We all know how quickly Jamie can ascend through the ranks though. I'd put my money on him getting to the castle edge first, and if you can put some focus to picking up those relics early on before Erfan can get there, then he could be securing himself a useful advantage.
Well, I mean, Jamie, for me, certainly he's come on a long way since his first competitive match, which was only 2 or 3 months ago. But he is up against his toughest opponent yet in the form of Erfan. In your mind, what do you think he's going to have to do to overcome the opponent, and what do you think he should be wary of in terms of what Erfan has on offer?
That's exactly right, Joel. And Jamie is a newcomer not only to Age of Empires, but to real-time strategy games in general. But he cannot be underestimated, as he has made dramatic progress over the last few months. Living with Jamie myself, I have been able to see firsthand the effort he puts in at the training ground. Just yesterday he was playing 1v1 against a moderate AI, and the source tells me that he's been training some new tactics recently. Couldn't go into details, but one thing we can say for sure is that we will be seeing a sharper Jamie than ever before, and if he can keep his cool, he has every chance of walking away with the win. His economy management is strong, he rises through the ages quickly, and has a strong preference for fast castle and booming. If Erfan leaves Jamie alone for too long, he could find himself outgunned, as Jamie is able to accumulate vast resources quickly when uninterrupted. Jamie's weakness, therefore, is the rush. We all know how pesky Erfan can be as an opponent, so Jamie will need to be prepared for raids on his base early game. It would be wise for Jamie to prepare some defensive units early on, maybe a tower or two as well. A wall is essential in making sure that his base is protected and uninterrupted so it can accumulate resources. I know this is something that he will be looking into to get on the field as soon as possible. Now, the footage showing behind me here is a recent free-for-all we all played, and it's the last time I played against Jamie. Jamie started next to me, and we're seeing him defend his town here in Feudal Age as I build some aggressive towers. I've rushed Jamie a few times in the past. It's a weakness for him, but he has definitely improved with every game. You can see here that he's prepared a decent number of defensive units, and he really is making it hard for me to raid him and make any progress. Now, if Jamie can get through a potential Erfan rush, he will be in a good position to get on the front foot. If I fast forward this game to 4 hours later, we can see Jamie launching a heavy assault on one of our hosts' cannon. The backbone of Jamie's army is the bombard cannon. And a standard Jamie army will include a large number of cannons as well as some other units to keep the enemy at bay and offer some protection. Cannons can be devastating when used quickly to take down enemy defences without giving the enemy time to react. We can see he's taken down Cameron's castle here. They can also be very effective against heavy units, particularly if Erfan goes for his preferred knights or elephants. The key for Jamie will be micromanaging his army when launching attacks. The cannons are vulnerable and they need to be protected a bit better than you can see right here. Now if Jamie can adequately protect his firepower, then he could prove to be a very tricky opponent to stop. Now cannons do cost gold, and if we see this match going into the late game, then Jamie would be wise to switch up his tactics and focus on some more economical units to protect his cannons, such as pikemen or light cavalry. This also goes for Erfan, who may struggle to keep up his knight and elephant production in the late game.
Well, that brings us nicely on to Erfan, actually. In your mind, what tactics do you think he's going to employ here? And what do you think his tactics are going to be to win the game outright?
That's exactly right, Joel. Now, we all know Erfan to be quite aggressive in the free-for-alls and team games, but it remains to be seen how he will act in the 1v1. Here we can see Erfan in the match where this feud began, actually. And we can see Erfan here occupying Jamie's island without him even noticing, and then he continues to go and take him out from there. Now he'll be lucky to be as stealthy as that in a 1v1 match where Jamie knows he's coming, but if he can stealthily get some towers in and if he can harass Jamie early with a feudal rush, this could disrupt Jamie's flow and cut off some vital resources. Erfan loves to use knights, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw both teams bring in knights to the battle in the Castle Age. In this situation, blacksmith upgrades will be key to getting the upper hand. I think Erfan needs to get on the front foot before Jamie does. He needs to cause some disruption with Jamie's economy, but he does need to focus on his own economy as well, where he will find himself underprepared for defence. Once Jamie gets a sizable army, it will be difficult for Erfan, so he does need to ensure that he's always on the front foot and controlling the game and not letting Jamie get that big cannon army that we've been talking about. If Jamie is allowed to attack with a full army, Erfan will need to use cavalry, knights to target the cannons and neutralise them before significant damage is done. I played with him before and he's done a good job of targeting my trebuchets, but we are talking about cannons here. They hit faster and they hit with less warning. Over the last few weeks, in some games and some press releases, we've seen Erfan hinting and experimenting with using an army of monks. I believe the key to Erfan's success will rely on him not using this tactic in any way, shape or form, but if he does insist on employing such a strategy, he will need to research the redemption tech, as this allows the conversion of enemy cannons and other siege units.
Really good point. I mean, would you rather fight one giant Erfan or 1,000 mini Jamies?
That's exactly right, Joe. And that's a really interesting point, actually. It's a question that a lot of fans will be having going into this game. The answer remains to be seen. I think I'd rather fight 1,000 mini Jamies, but in reality I'd probably run a mile if I saw either of them.
Brilliant. Well, thank you, Daniel, once again for your wonderful analysis. Here on Best Boy Sports, obviously the place to be for all things Age of Empires. We'll leave it for now and we'll join up with you when we get ready for the start of the game.
Thanks, guys. That is some fascinating analysis from a pro sports player like Dan Morris there. So now let's hear from the players themselves. Joel managed to speak to Erfan earlier. So how did that go?
Good afternoon, everyone. It's Joel here at Best Boy Sports. I'm coming at you with a exclusive interview with one of our two competitors today, Erfan the Brave. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here and give you some good talk before the big match. So thank you for inviting me for this.
No, likewise. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. I guess to start off, how are you feeling today? Obviously, have you got any pre-match nerves, or are you feeling pretty calm and composed ahead of the big game?
I'm very excited. I think this is going to be a great lineup, and me and Jamie obviously have our own little rivalry going on. I think it'll be a great spectator sport. I'm very excited, and I can't wait.
Very good, very good. Yeah, so could you give us a bit of insight into how that rivalry came about?
It's just something that's been going on for years, since we were babies. Me and Jamie have just been going at each other, just, constantly just teasing each other, punching each other, just all the time, just, smack talk. The occasional fighters come about. In college, we were just basically, we hated each other. And this has all finally come about, and this AOE match that we will be having will really be the epicenter of something that has been very, very much a long-going issue, and it's going to be a nice way to settle things once and for all.
Very good, very good. I didn't realize the feud had been going on that long. Why did you decide that Age of Empires was the right platform to, finish off this feud that's been going on for 25 years now?
That's a very good question. I think Age of Empires is a classic. It's as old as we are, and it provides lots of elements for excitement and just entertainment, I would say. Not just for me and Jamie, obviously we can sort this out, but for all the viewers involved, and the money that will be raised for charity as well. So it's a win-win for everyone involved.
Yes, fantastic. And speaking of charity, what is your chosen charity for today's game, should you be victorious?
I haven't decided yet, but that will be decided soon.
Very good, very good. Look forward to
I might split it up to many charities because, feeling generous.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, there's a lot of money riding on this game today. There's a whole £15.
Millions. Yeah, millions.
And obviously, we're still accepting donations here at Best Boy Sports. Feel free to write in with any donations you want to do. On the topic of Age of Empires, then, how do you feel your form is coming into today's match up against Jamie the Brave?
We've had some ups and downs in the game, but I think the past 5 matches we've seen 5-win streak. So hopefully it'll bode us well going into today's match. Obviously the boys are very excited. The team is pumped. I've got my military and economy advisors giving me constant tips, and everyone in the backroom staff has just been very excited, and they're very excited for this match.
I mean, speaking of military, I can see you've got your camo T-shirt on there, so it seems like you're primed and ready.
Yeah, I was wondering if you could actually see me, but I think we're okay.
Just about. It's a bit of a struggle here, I must admit, but I can just about make out your.
Well, that's good to know. Thank you.
Your face. That's always good. Moving on to your competitors now. Obviously, Jamie is a bit of a new up and coming face in the Age of Empires scene. It's only been a few months since he's really started playing on the competitive kind of area of Age of Empires. Do you think that's any sort of danger to yourself? Someone who might have new tactics or new incentives to take you on?
Look, I've told this many times. He's a great player tactically, and he's not to be underestimated. So we're going to go into this match, and I've told the boys to be brave. He might have some few tricks up his sleeves, but hopefully we'll come out victorious.
Yes, I'm sure you yourself and the team will be whooping for you today. It all makes sense to me. Do you have any kind of special shout outs or anyone you'd like to thank in the build up to this before we conclude it there?
No.
Very good, very good. And any final messages to all your adoring fans back home?
I don't care about the fans, mate. Okay. Do what I want.
Very good, very good. I think you have probably nailed your message. That is a typical Erfan comment. Very good. We'll leave it there. Obviously, Erfan, thank you for joining Best Boy Sports once again, and we will
Very
see you
pleased
on the
to be here.
battlefield.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Erfan. Thank you.
See you later.
Ta-da.
Well, then that was fascinating to hear from the man himself. Joel, do you think he's ready for this game?
I think they're both ready, to be honest. It's been building up. It's been bubbling away in the background for weeks now. And you know what? I'm thrilled that they both agreed to this game. I certainly have been looking forward to them finally taking it on 1v1. There's been a lot of talk whether it was going to happen. So obviously today is the big day. I'm thrilled to be here. And it's an honor, obviously, to commentate on this. I think they're both ready for this.
I mean, we know that there's a lot of psychology involved in Age of Empires. Who do you think might have the upper hand psychologically?
Well, based on certainly his appetite to want to join the interview, I'd probably say Erfan's got the edge. He's clearly confident in wanting to talk to the press and to the media. I think Jamie certainly has only given us a press release.
So interestingly, you said that we did try and get in contact with Jamie for an interview to speak to him in person. Unfortunately, he was unable to speak to us in person, but he did send us this message, which we've got here. Friends and colleagues, I'm very much looking forward to participating in today's forthcoming charity Showdown. Now more than ever, playing fun games with friends is essential for our happiness and well-being. I've been excited for this all week, and I can't wait to start the building armies, harvesting sheep, and battering the smile off Erfan's disgusting rat face. Thank you so much. So he's clearly up for this fight, Dan. Unfortunately, I think we're having some technical difficulties with Dan. Joel, yeah, he's clearly up for this fight.
Oh, he loves a scrap, does Jamie. It's always been, part of his mindset. He's a very aggressive little player, and I think he's going to give Erfan a run for his money today if Erfan isn't careful.
Yeah, very much so. So I think we're almost ready to get this game going. I think the players are just getting into the pre-game lobby. So very exciting times indeed. So before we do start the game then, if I have to get you guys off the fence, Dan, who's going to win this match?
I think both teams will want to win, and both teams are good at what they do. The better team might come out on top. I reckon it'll be a draw.
Joel?
Yeah, as I've said from the very start, to be honest, if I were to be a betting man, I would probably put my bet on the draw as well. I think Morris is completely correct. It's just too hard to decide, really, and let the battle commence.
Indeed. Well, I think super exciting that we've got such a close matchup here today for the fans. They're both well up for it. We can't really split them in terms of stats. Let's see how they do. Have we got them in the lobby?
Let's have a look. So, as you can see here, we're just waiting for our two mighty competitors to join the game. And then we should be ready to go. And we'll invite them once again. Jamie has joined the game, which is great news.
Yeah.
We just need Erfan to join as well. I'm sure the players will be getting ready, as always. I'm sure they have pre-match.
Dan, you're the pro player of the group here. What is your pre-match routine?
I like to try to get a good breakfast into me. I'd have about a few hours before, I'll eat a big carby meal, and then maybe like a banana or something. And I get into the lobby and I find out which team I'm going to go for. I have a look at their stats, what they're good at, and then the last 5 minutes, I just meditate and just play out the game in my head, and that usually fares me pretty well for the game ahead.
Fascinating stuff.
What sort of lunch do you have, Dan?
Well, I often have some chips.
For breakfast? Wow.
Yeah, chips for breakfast. Sometimes a pizza.
In the oven?
Depends what I'm feeling, really.
Wow, fascinating. I wouldn't have put you down as a chip and pizza for breakfast sort of guy.
Now, interested in the civilization selection here. Jamie has gone for Franks, and Erfan's gone for random.
Erfan being brave there with his movement. Clearly, he feels that he can take Jamie on with whatever civilization he's given by the game.
Yeah, I think this is an early sign of Erfan trying to use psychological warfare.
Yeah, a bit of a flex there, bit of a flex. We'll see how that pans out.
He does love a flex, does Erfan, especially in the gym. Actually, he loves to go to the gym. Unfortunately, he can't at the moment. But the good news is his mother has sorted him with a home gym, so nothing is stopping him from getting those games. And we can see here some early chat coming from Erfan in the game chat. Let's have you boys, which is a usual statement from one of the staple players of Age of Empires 2.
Oh, and now we've seen Erfan change to Franks.
It's very tactical, and I think we are ready to go, boys. Any last comments from yourselves, gentlemen?
Start the game already.
Start the game already.
Start the game already. It is.
Stone, please.
Stone, please. There we are. The 5-second countdown has begun.
Well, while we're waiting for the game to start, they've both picked the Frank civilization. I was wondering, Morris, if you'd be able to tell us a bit of information about where the strengths and weaknesses lie with Frank.
Yeah, absolutely. The Franks are a civilization from France. They've got strong. They've got strong knights. That's certainly a route you might want to go down if you're playing as the Franks. Other than that, I'm not really sure. I can't really remember. But yeah, their unique unit is the throwing axeman. Very interesting unit that deals melee damage, even though it's a ranged unit. So yeah, it should be a very interesting one to see them both match up as the Franks. We can expect some big knight battles, maybe, or maybe some big throwing axeman armies. Who knows?
See, Jamie is concentrating on building his houses early, getting those villagers out, and trying to get his population up as quickly as possible to try and boom his economy straight away.
Yeah, it's looking like a slick start here for Jamie.
Yeah, very good. He seems to be sending his turkeys into the town centre, which is a strong first tactic. The good news for Jamie is that he seems to have turkeys in abundance, at least 5 turkeys for his villagers to obviously feast themselves on. I'll just move us over to Erfan. Let's see whether he's doing anything similar.
Yeah, you can see he's also going for the turkeys. Wise move. Doesn't seem to have too many villages yet. Hopefully he'll get those in production. Maybe get them on the food. He has got an idle villager there over by his houses. Hopefully he'll pick that up before long. Otherwise that's some wasted resources there. I think he's going for another house there, or maybe a lumber camp. No, it's another house. Trying not to get housed early in the game.
Erfan, always been a strong admirer of houses. Obviously very useful in populating your civilization. So it looks like both players in the early game certainly are going for the turkey strategy, always a strong one. Moving back to Jamie, actually, it appears he's built a lumber camp. Any thoughts on his thirst for wood?
Yeah, I think it's wise for him to get some wood in early in the game. He'll need to make some houses and maybe another mill or a first mill. So yeah, it'll be good for him to get some wood stockpiled early in the game.
Do you think this could be a sign that Jamie is going to build archers early, Dan?
Difficult to say. It's too early to tell. In the feudal age, where we see where he puts his villagers, that's when we'll get a good idea of what tactic he's going for, and when he does progress to the castle age and the feudal age.
Yeah, it's a good point. In terms of the geography of the two players, it appears that they are relatively close in what seems like quite a large map. How do you think that's going to affect the match, Dan, going into the middle and end games?
Yeah, it'll give them some chance to spread out to the sort of south side of the map. But yeah, it could result in some early skirmishes and some early battles, trying to dominate that gold control the gold piles.
Agreed. So moving back to Erfan, actually, it appears he's built a lumberjack. Actually, this is the furthest outpost for him towards Jamie's base. And it appears, again, you can just see the scout there moving about as he is trying to get through that fog of war there. It looks like Erfan is trying to get as much of the map territory as possible. Cameron, do you think it's going to make any sort of impact if Erfan does find out where Jamie is early on in the game?
I definitely think that Erfan is the more aggressive of the two players. If he knows where Jamie is, I'm sure he will try and send out some units early on. So that's why scouting is so important now in the early game. Try and work out where your other players are, where those resources might be. And as
it's close.
Dan alluded to in the analysis earlier, try and find some relics as well.
Very good, yes. You can see that Erfan's scout is meters away from Jamie's base.
Yeah.
It appears he hasn't quite spotted him yet.
If we put it on fog of war and see what Erfan can see himself.
We can see Jamie's fog of war there first and foremost. As you can see, he has a relatively small circle of the map. I guess he's focusing on resources first and foremost.
Yeah, he's trying to scout out those the resources close to him, not worrying too much about what Erfan's doing right now. He's trying to secure his resources, whereas Erfan's going for a more expansive and aggressive scouting strategy. He's got his immediate resources, and as far as he's concerned, he wants to find the opponent now. But he does seem to be just missing Jamie here, and if he does miss Jamie, then that could impact the game quite a lot.
Agreed. And also worth noting, it's quite a piece of art that Erfan's made in terms of his scouting. It almost looks like someone doing one of those perfect gestures with their hand, with the circle and the outer fingers going there. Do you think this is a tactic of Erfan's, that he's trying to make a shape in the mini-map?
I wouldn't put it past him, Joel.
Yeah, I think it could be Erfan flexing early on that he is doing A-OK, trying to spell out to Jamie, like, I am not fazed by what you're doing. I'm doing okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, speaking of flex, he's just spotted 2 turkeys there. I'm sure his villagers will be having a feast on them tonight. Now let's just go out of fog of war again, back to the usual view, and let's go back to Erfan's town centre first and foremost. Erfan, as you can see from the villager count, 17 out of 20 villagers. That's quite a strong showing in the early game.
Yes, it is quite a strong showing. He'll want to put another house down so he doesn't get housed. It's very easy to do. But it'd be interesting to see what Jamie's population is and see how it compares.
Agreed, and we can go to that view right away. 19 out of 25 villagers for Jamie. Strong
so
start.
Yeah, that slight edge in the early game. This is what we were talking about. Jamie is quite strong in focusing on his economy early on, and hopefully that will pay good rewards for him in the late game.
And we're also seeing Jamie go for boar here. This is a new technique. I know he's been putting this tactic to use on the training ground and perfecting the boar hunting. And yeah, it looks like it's going to pay off. He's going to have a lot more free food, and he won't have to use his berries until later, and he won't have to do farms until later.
Yes, it's interesting.
He has already started on his farms, which is showing you how keen he is to try and focus on food early on, get that population up as soon as he can, and boom that economy.
Yes, I was going to touch upon that, Cameron, actually. He seems to be going for a multifaceted approach when it comes to producing the food there. Do you think he's trying to get out of the dark age as soon as possible?
I think, yeah, we'll see him try and... I think he'll focus on his food, try and get his villager count up, and then we'll see him progressing through the ages quite quickly. I'd be interested, actually, if you'd be able to share the scores of these players in the corner so we can see just how this villager count is affecting their economy differently.
The red, blue, and white button.
Oh, yeah.
Bottom right.
There we are. The scores. Erfan taking the edge.
That is interesting. Now, I wonder if Erfan has started researching feudal age. If you click on his town centre, we might be able to find out
Yeah, that's a good point. Before going that, I'll just mention he has the two barracks set up. Looks like he's going very aggressive in terms of
you can
military.
see a few militia here. And
that's
also
probably
there
where
seems
his
to be a
core camp-
battle down south as well.
Oh my.
Just outside Jamie's base, yeah.
There we go. We
This is
have
the early game aggression we expected from Erfan.
we do have the first death of the game, may I add. Rest in peace to those who have sacrificed their lives for Erfan and Jamie. You can see here there the militia are going in for the kill.
Yes, looking to strangle out some of Jamie's resources early. It is an exposed wood line here, and yeah, he's going to get a few kills and get some good value out of those militias early. But it will alert Jamie that Erfan has got some soldiers. So it'll be interesting to see how Jamie reacts to this.
Yes, great point. Actually, going back to Jamie, I'll be very keen to see how he reacts. As you can see there, straight away, Jamie's building a barracks, looking to respond to the militia that Erfan has been creating.
So yeah, this is exactly what Jamie wouldn't want. I think Jamie would be keen to just be uninterrupted for the first few ages and then get to the castle age and then really put the foot on the gas. But if Erfan is stopping him from doing that and turning Jamie's focus to the military, then it will be difficult for Jamie to get his economy booming.
Agreed, and you can see actually the 3 militia soldiers just marching into Jamie's town centre, almost uninterrupted. We have a potential scrap going on here actually, where Jamie is starting to force it back with his own mini army. As you can see there, it's a bit like being down Wine Street on a Friday night. It's a 3v2 scrap.
3v2 scrap. Yeah, Jamie's done well to get some units up after that, but he is currently outnumbered, and that's helping Erfan to maintain dominance on the military front. I think Jamie needs to just build a few militia and hold them back until he can outnumber Erfan's troops.
Yes, agreed. And I must admit, it looks like Erfan is flaunting the fact that he has 3 soldiers in his enemy's base, just marching around the perimeter like there's nobody's business. And as you can see there, Erfan has... It looks like he's decided to attack Jamie's villagers again. Yes, he has.
Yeah, Erfan's certainly getting some good value out of these soldiers. He's forced Jamie into building some militia, which is using precious food, which he would want to be using to go up to the next stage. But it is important that Erfan doesn't completely focus on military and does try to keep his economy up as well, because there's a danger that Jamie might overtake him on the economy and then launch a counterattack.
That's a very good point. And actually, if we move away from the scrapping, which you can just see as finished there, as Jamie's Erfan's last military have passed away, you can see actually Jamie is going hard on the gold.
He is going hard on the gold, and that might suggest a feudal age rush, but it could also be a castle age rush. It's interesting that he's not going for more food at this point. But he does almost have enough, and he has gone to the feudal age, so I think he'll be close to getting to the castle age and just trying to rush up through the ages here.
Yes, great point. And actually, it's worth having a look at. Well, funny enough, going back to Erfan's base, you can see there his villagers, or his militia, I should say, fighting off what appeared to be some exotic wildlife there. You can see again, actually, Erfan is going all out on the attack.
He is, yeah. He just needs to be careful. He can't leave his economy to become stagnant. He's got to keep that up, and he can't be too focused on just taking out Jamie and not looking at himself, because Jamie can match him here with military.
Yeah, and interesting now. Well, in fact, Jamie did take over the score lead, but Erfan has in fact come back again, so it's still very title to play for.
Look at this now. It's a potential 4v4 here. who has the edge. Look at that. It's handbags at the lumber camp.
I'd like to see Jamie here build maybe a watchtower to try and get a little bit of defense around his base. Maybe try and help ward off those militia.
Well, he certainly fought off the attack from Erfan, and he will be benefiting from a relatively strong militia army ready to thwart off any further attacks. Actually, during this break, well, you can see Erfan is sending in another wave, but actually I want to go to Erfan's base and just see how he's doing in terms of his economy. Let's just look at his town centre now.
Can we go on to his thing?
We can.
That's better.
Indeed. There we go. Farms galore at Erfan headquarters.
But he's not actually. If you click on his town centre and see if he is researching the feudal age.
You know, I'm not sure if I'm able to see that as the spectator. Oh, actually, no, I can see when.
Perhaps not. Perhaps not.
So
Well, hopefully he is researching it. If not, he might be at risk of getting left behind here.
I'm not sure if he is. He's still creating villages.
He's still creating villages, yeah.
Let's have a look. Let's just see Jamie in comparison. If I'm able to see, is he doing any sort of research? No, it looks like they're both stuck on the same age. Relatively tight at the top, although Jamie seems to be getting the edge with his score there.
Yeah, he's an age ahead, and I think he's just been able to focus more on economy. He has had to fight against Erfan, but he's been fighting on his own turf, so he's not been having to look all over the map. He's been able to focus. So I think it is an advantage to Jamie here, and Erfan will need to get that economy stepped up.
And I noticed that Jamie has also researched man-at-arms. It allows him to have an upper hand in his battles with Erfan's militia.
That is a huge advantage there, yeah.
Big
in
advantage.
fact, he could even potentially launch a small counter-attack, and I don't think Erfan would be able to fight it off too easily.
Yeah, I would like to see a counter-attack, maybe attacking Erfan's lumber camp that's quite up, but Erfan has placed those barracks quite far ahead of his base, so that does it sort of acts a bit like a watchtower in that he can get infantry out of there without and counter Jamie's armies before they're at Erfan's door.
Agreed. I mean, obviously the men-at-arms are at bay to withstand any of Erfan's attacks. Men-at-arms, by the way, famously stronger than boys at heart. Looking at these two barracks, though, you can see that even though Jamie has the advantage with the man-at-arms, Erfan is only an upgrade away from potentially having an army that could be attacking Jamie's stronghold.
It'll be interesting to know if Erfan is aware that Jamie has got the man-at-arms upgrade, because if he doesn't, then yeah, he could be sending those troops to their death. I think Jamie will hold back. He could do a counter, but I don't think that is what he's going for here. I think he will be focusing on going up to the next age, going up to Castle Age, and then getting some stronger troops that can really cause Erfan some trouble closer to Erfan's home.
It's a good point.
Yeah, we see the score lead for Jamie stretch out here to over 300 now. As we see the advantage of being able to age up early really showing.
You can see there Erfan finally upgraded into the feudal age. It's taken him a little while. Maybe he'll bounce back and potentially go on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, he just needs to hold Jamie at bay now. I think he's overstretched himself a little bit in the early stages of the game. Just needs to slow things down now and get his economy up, matching Jamie's again.
Indeed. It's a very promising start though for this match. Two very close rivals going at it.
Yeah, very interesting indeed. It would be good to. Can we have a little look at the fog of war and see how aware each player is of their opponent?
Yeah, so starting with
whereabouts.
Jamie. Actually, Jamie's benefiting from a interesting noose. It looks like a hangman's noose. Not sure whether that's deliberate in terms of the mini-map shape. However, obviously he knows where Erfan is, so he could potentially launch that attack that we've been talking about.
Yeah, it was good to get. It was good for Jamie to get Erfan scouted out there because, yeah, the placement of the players does seem slightly lopsided. So it's good that Jamie knows the general direction that he needs to go.
Yeah, it's a great point. And actually, I'll just move on to Erfan, who, looking at his fog of war, certainly has made a lot of squiggles by the looks of things. Any comment on that? Do you think this is a deliberate shape that he's made with his scouts, or do you think it's just happened per chance?
Yeah, my thoughts were Sonic the Hedgehog. Looks slightly like that. Maybe he's saying, "I'm catching up. I'm right behind you here on the score, and I'm going to overtake you."
I mean, Erfan's certainly winning in the fog of war battle. That is for sure. And actually, it's still relatively close in terms of the score lines. There's, 300 in it. Erfan obviously has now got to the feudal age. Jamie's actually got to the castle age. Do you think Jamie will be taking advantage of the ability to actually build castles now that he's reached this stage?
I'm not sure he has enough stone yet to be able to start building the castles. What I'd be interested to know, actually, going back to his Fog of War site, is how many relics can he see, and will he be going to hunt those down now he can build a monastery?
Well, it's interesting you say that. Actually, looking in the far corner of the map, it appears that Erfan is bringing out one of his famous tactics in building a what seems to be an outer base. Any reason why you boys think he's decided to build a archery range so far away from where both players are based?
We know it's a classic tactic of both these players to have secondary bases in case the first one gets raided and killed off. Erfan setting this up early is certainly new, something I haven't seen him do, but I'm not surprised by it. He's obviously building a small army there to defend it early on as well. What he will build behind those walls, I'm not sure.
Yes, great point. So we are now half an hour in, as you can see from the timer in the top left hand corner. Boys, could you give me a general insight? How do you think both teams are faring, and how do you think both teams are going to get on going towards the middle game in terms of this match?
I think Erfan will be slightly disappointed that his raids didn't come to more than that. He did get good value early on for those militia, but then started to get out. You can see he's coming in with another rush here, but I think he is going to get overwhelmed quite quickly by Jamie's knights. Is that a castle that Jamie is putting up there, or is that a siege workshop? It's hard to tell.
It's a siege workshop.
It's a siege workshop. Yeah, I think Jamie will be looking to get some knights on the pitch, and he might be going in for an attack here. And I think if he does push this military advantage, I think Erfan will struggle to keep up.
Yes.
Yeah, I think as similar to what Dan was saying, I think Erfan did go aggressive as we expected. I think Jamie held out very well, managed to minimise any impact of that rush, and he's now showing the benefits with his enhanced economy, getting to the castle age quicker. I'm interested that he's gone for a siege workshop so early on. I think he could benefit from just sending his knights in and rushing quickly with the knights, try and dampen Erfan down. He doesn't need the siege 2 just yet, but it'll be interesting to see where he goes from here.
Also interesting to add, Erfan has appeared to build a stone wall relatively close to Jamie's base. Do you think that's Erfan's way of trying to stop Jamie from proceeding into far and far away lands?
That is an interesting move. I mean, yeah, it could. I think it could well work. I think while Jamie will be able to take those walls back down with the siege workshop, I think it will just confuse Jamie and give Erfan a bit more time to get to the castle age himself. Yeah, I'm not sure what Jamie is going to do with the siege workshop. He might be getting some rams out, might be looking to finish Erfan off quickly, because I know he does favour his cannons, but I don't think they're available until the Imperial Age. But it'll be interesting to see. I think he needs to get some He's got a good amount of knights and needs to get some more. And yeah, I agree with Cameron that I think the knights should be pushing them forward and causing Erfan a bit of grief and trying to disrupt his economy and give him a taste of his own medicine here.
I noticed that Jamie's population is 61 and Erfan is housed at 40. He's really got to address that quickly before Jamie accelerates away.
Indeed, Jamie seems to be getting the upper hand, certainly in terms of his economy. Jamie obviously would not realise that Erfan's built this great wall, certainly based on what the Fog of War suggests anyway. It looks like Erfan is still trying to play aggressively, even if he is outnumbered in terms of military units.
I think that's part of the psychology you talked about before. Jamie doesn't know he necessarily has such a big upper hand, and the fact that Erfan is sending in units keeps Jamie thinking that Erfan has units to spare.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think Jamie will be feeling on the back foot here, even though he really isn't. Although he is looking to make a move here, so
like
this will be interesting. Little does he know that he won't be able to advance outside the gates, although it doesn't look like Erfan will complete this wall. So it'll be interesting to see for sure.
Yeah, looks like he will get there ahead of time, killing the villager and potentially emptying the wall. Yes, looks like that is
he's looking to make a break for it there, yeah.
That's very good, very good.
Get that villager down.
Breaking out of his base.
Yeah, that was a good move from Jamie there. Erfan almost had him, but Jamie managed to slip away from that one.
He's a slippery character. Certainly, I do wonder now whether Jamie is going to march on and attack his barracks, let alone his base. Looks like he is.
Yeah, he's doing a sort of AI move here and then attacking Erfan's wall. I'm not sure that's the best use of his units, but if you can just bring those men-at-arms up and take down those barracks, that would be very useful for Jamie.
Agreed. It is interesting, actually. Jamie, would you think he should be taking advantage of that siege workshop that he built previously to take these buildings down?
Yeah, it might be worth Jamie getting some siege rams up here and just trying to make this advantage really count and just take Erfan out of the game altogether here.
Yes, makes sense. Let's actually move up towards Erfan's base just to see if he's got any sort of tactics to counteract. It looks like he's listened to us in terms of the population count. That has now been up to 50. Who knows if he is listening to the stream? Hi, Erfan. Hope you're well. But it looks like he's addressing that, and let's just see. He is indeed researching the castle age.
Can we see anywhere on the map where Erfan is got some other barracks or is potentially building a reserve army? Because once Jamie takes those barracks down, he'll be advancing them into Erfan's main base, and I'm not sure he has much to defend it.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. Going to the corner base, funnily enough, in the corner of the map, you can see Erfan is very much building a little a sub barracks and archery range.
Without a town, this is why you need to get to the castle age quickly, because without the castle age, you can't build a town centre in this second base.
Very true.
So he needs to make sure he gets there quickly and sets it up.
It looks like Jamie's thwarted what could have potentially been an attack. I must admit, we weren't there in time. It could have just been villagers. Jamie very much on it in terms of thwarting these attacks.
Jamie's running away with it here. I mean, he's got double the score of Erfan now. He really needs to try and push on, make this count.
Yeah, so do you think it's only going to be a matter of time before Jamie shows his dominance?
It looks like this. It looks like at this point, but I really want to see him be aggressive now and push some of those units out.
Yeah, absolutely. He needs to take advantage of his dominance here and make it count. Otherwise, Erfan will be able to get back into the game.
Yeah, so Erfan's just researched the castle age there, slowly but surely catching up. But it does appear that the chips are down. If you were in Erfan's position, what do you think you would do?
Well, I think he's got to remember that this is a game of two halves. Although Jamie has the upper hand now, if he shows his resilience, if he gets that second base going and builds some economy there, he can definitely get back into this match. He needs the town centres, though. He needs to build some other town centres as soon as possible and try and boom up, because a population of 28 is going to be nothing compared to Jamie.
There's a good point. Actually, it does make me wonder, as you can see, Erfan, quite a few idle villagers there. It seems that his priority is building barracks and archery ranges and stables. Maybe he is worried of that attack from Jamie.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Erfan is doing here. He seems to have forgotten about his economy completely.
He's going full on wood, but yeah, I think he's struggling to get those farms up. But yeah, he needs to focus on his economy now. He needs to compact his base a bit, as he seems to have done here by building some more barracks. I think he needs to stop building archers, because Jamie is focusing on the knights. And as the Franks, they have got good knights. Jamie will be upgrading those to paladins when he gets to the Imperial Age. I think Erfan needs to focus on getting some pikemen, or maybe some knights of his own. But I think he certainly needs to stop with the archers, because they won't be very effective against Jamie's knights.
Great analysis as always, Daniel. It is quite odd actually seeing these tactics. I mean, I'm not used to seeing Erfan be so reactive in terms of the game. Usually he's a man of big chat and big action. Do you think he's been thwarted? Do you think he wasn't expecting such a battle today that he seems to be getting from Jamie?
Yeah, I think potentially the early game has left Erfan in a bit of a shock. And yeah, I think he's trying to compact his base now. He's realised that the aggressive strategy isn't working here. He is trying to get some spearmen on the board now. I think that is wise, because that will be a cost-effective counter to the knights. I think it's all about stopping Jamie's knights now. I think if Erfan can get a castle up, then that would be very helpful. But he is a long way off that in terms of resources.
Yeah, great point. And going back to Jamie's base, actually, he has been towering out at 91 villagers. That is a very impressive start. I mean, that's an economy that you're going to struggle to battle with.
Yeah, that's the point. Go on, Morris.
Yeah, certainly Jamie's got the upper hand with the population, and that will give him the upper hand in the economy. So yeah, I think Erfan does need to get back on his economy and try to catch up here.
Indeed. And just looking at Jamie's town centre, it appears he is researching Imperial Age. Would you have expected this so early on?
I personally wouldn't have upgraded to Imperial Age just yet. I think he's got enough resources and enough strength to have attacked in Castle. I'm not sure upgrading to Paladin. I'm not sure the positives of upgrading to Imperial Age is worth the investment just yet. But I'm sure Jamie's got something up his sleeve.
I am hearing that Jamie has gone for a toilet break, so perhaps his Imperial Age was perhaps a way that he could get could tick over while he's going to the toilet, and then when he gets back, he will be back in the Imperial Age and ready to go. I think the other reason to go to the Imperial Age is cannons. He is a big fan of cannons, and I think he'll be looking to get some of them on the pitch now. And I think that is how he will plan to attack Erfan. Perhaps that's why he hasn't pushed forward yet. He's waiting for that heavy firepower to come in.
Yeah, that's a great point. May I add that obviously the Imperial Age features wonders. Do you think we'll be seeing any wonders from Jamie today? Actually, I'll pause you there, boys. There seems to be an attack.
Erfan,
Jamie
is attacked by Jamie here.
Going for it.
I'd like to see that.
Toilet break
Looks
or
like
no
he's
toilet
back from
break.
the toilet.
He is. That won't stop him. His weak bladder will not stop him. He is going for it. It appears Jamie is going for the kill here.
Yeah, he's got some good value there. He's got a lot of villagers killed there. I think this could be the start of the end for Erfan.
Yes, it could be curtains. It doesn't look like Erfan set up any real defense in terms of watchtowers. However, we can see Gary Monk and the boys have arrived in his monastery. Do you think he's going to be using them to potentially convert Jamie's unit? What do you think the thinking is here?
It looks like his monk's going to try and find some relics. I think Jamie needs to try and get his knights, his army away from that town centre. It's Erfan's only real defence here. He can, if Jamie just focuses on killing Erfan's economy, then when his siege weapons and hand cannons come through later, they can destroy that town centre.
Great point. Well, the relic is secured. It's in the bag. For how long, we shall see. At the moment, it looks like there's only one winner at this point. Jamie's Knights proving dominant in Erfan's base.
Yeah, I think Erfan needs to upgrade those spearmen to pikemen. I think that would go a long way. But yeah, such a small number of spearmen aren't really going to help here, even though they are effective against Jamie's Knights.
Yes,
Although
point.
Jamie is ignoring Erfan's spearmen and going straight for the source of the spearmen.
Mm-hmm.
I think that probably will pay off, but he might lose a few knights in the process.
Yeah.
If Jamie, I would like to see Jamie attack those gold miners just above. I'm not sure if he's able to see them, but that would really stifle Erfan's economy.
Yes, indeed. Quite a few gold diggers there, Kanye West included. It appears he's going straight for the military units. Funnily enough, you may have seen earlier, he's actually got a second wave of units just sitting dormant. If you were in Jamie's shoes, would you be pushing those soldiers on to attack Erfan's base?
Yeah, I would be. You can see for himself that Erfan doesn't seem to have much of a resistance. Perhaps he is wary that Erfan might have another trick up his sleeve, another army waiting to counter him. But I guess that Jamie's not able to see that for himself, and it's easier for us to see from the commentary box with all of the fog of war revealed.
Yes, indeed, and actually you would have seen there a jaguar fighting Jamie's villagers back at the home front. Do you think that is some sort of mischievous tactic from Erfan, where he's asking jaguars to fight Jamie?
I'm not sure, but we have seen stranger things in Age of Empires over the last few months, so that could well be the case.
Indeed. Speaking of strange things, it looks like Jamie is certainly burning down Erfan's buildings. It's worth actually going to Erfan's second base, built far and away. You can see he's built a second town centre there.
Yeah, I think this is important for Erfan. He needs that second town centre to try and set up another economy in the second base if he's got any chance of coming back into this game. Thing is, he has abandoned quite a lot of gold and stone resources in the first base. Jamie could expand out and steal all those for himself.
Indeed, it looks like Erfan, I should say, has truly given up on his original base. You can see there Dietrich and the boys marching into his second base there. Funnily enough, if you go back up here, for some reason Gary Monk has decided to head back to his monastery. A bit odd.
With the relic, yeah.
With the relic, yes. Surely he should be looking to build a second monastery and keep that relic secure.
Yeah, so it's a risky play from Erfan. He wants to try and secure that gold early before he has time to build another monastery. But if Jamie takes that base, he will have lost both relics.
Yes, it's good.
I think these cavalry archers are a good move here. I think that is, he does need to pull them back. But yeah, that'll give him some good mobility, which Jamie might not be able to counter at the moment with this smaller army. But when he brings his bigger army in, then I think there simply aren't enough cavalry archers there to take Jamie down. And those cavaliers, they've got a lot of pierce armor and a lot of HP. And the cavalry archers, even though there's 5 of them, they don't seem to be doing much of a dent there.
Well, I must admit, they seem to just be running around like headless chickens. Is this the tactic of Erfan to try and get his town centre to attack these units?
I think he's tried to draw in Jamie's units to the town centre to act as a defensive weapon. You can see him running around micromanaging this fight. I
would like to see Erfan's monks go for a convert here on Jamie's cavalier. I think that would be a good unit for Erfan to have. It seems pointless having those monks.
He is down, the horse is dead. Long live the king. But interesting for me, Jamie has still got that second wave. We mentioned this, 5-10 minutes ago. It's just sat there waiting. Do you think Jamie's waiting to strengthen that army as much as possible before laying a second attack on Erfan?
Jamie must have been able to see that he's pretty much taken out most of Erfan's base. I'm pretty sure he suspects that Erfan will have created a second base, but as you can see, he started to create these hand cannons. Dan was correct. He was probably holding back a lot of those units to protect his hand cannons and just completely wiped through Erfan's base in one go.
Yeah, and I think he's probably also been looking at the blacksmith upgrades. I know he's done the paladin upgrades there. And I think that's why Erfan's having a hard time. Obviously, what you can't see from the screen is which upgrades each team has. And I don't think Erfan will have done many upgrades because he's been too preoccupied with trying to defend his base. Whereas I think Jamie has been pushing on with those upgrades. So I think it will be very difficult for Erfan.
Indeed. Erfan, despite his strong start, has been on the back foot ever since. I must admit, I'm personally quite shocked at how one-sided this game has quickly become. I mean, just looking at the stats from Jamie, he's got 124 villagers so far, really strong showing. Compare that to Erfan, he's got less than half that, 49 villagers. How do you think that's going to play a part going forward?
I think that Jamie has the ability to back up his army with further units as and when he pleases, whereas Erfan doesn't have the resources to be able to mount much of a counterattack or any defense. I think that early boom and early economy strength from Jamie is really given him the advantage here. And interestingly, now he has launched his attack with some bombard cannons. I'm not sure if Jamie has scouted Erfan's second base yet, but I'm sure he'll make quick work of his first one.
Good point. Let's have a look at his fog of war now. It appears he has still not located the base. However, if you can see here, these monks are going to be certainly giving away his position if these knights are continuing to follow on. It's going to be relatively obvious for Jamie to know where to plan his next attack.
Yeah, a bit of an error here from Erfan. I would have sacrificed the monks personally. I think he's given a clear indication, even though Jamie's army has lost the monks now. I think it's pretty clear where Erfan is located.
Indeed. I mean, if you were, again, in Jamie's shoes, would he be marching this army on? Because it appears he's giving Erfan vital time to rebuild.
It looks like he is following Erfan down, and so shortly he'll be able to see where his base is. I wonder if is there still the big hole in Erfan's wall that he left before, or has he finally patched that up?
Let's have a look and see. Let's go back to Erfan's view. I mean, if you look at his new base, whilst it is relatively walled, he is flawed by the fact that he has the majority of his villagers cutting down wood, which is potentially exposing holes in the wall. What do you think he's going to have to do?
And not only that, he gives him a biased economy without the food and gold that he needs to counterattack.
I mean, we've always known Erfan loves wood, and it's showing here today as he cuts through all the wood that he can. It seems, yes, wood and food is the priority for him. We'll just see here. He appears to be sending Gary Monk and the boys. Where do you think these boys are going?
We could be looking at a monk attack here.
Has Erfan got a third base at the south of the map? What is that? Next to a relic.
This explains it is a relic. However, it is very interesting that he's decided to send 6 monks in during such turbulent times. This is a relatively big flex for Erfan, who has otherwise been on the back foot.
It seems Erfan's obsession with the relics has cost him in some other factors of the game. It looks like Jamie is trying to scout out Erfan's new base here. You can see him in the north corner. But he's trying to make sure that all of Erfan's base is gone. You can see why you might think Erfan has gone up there, but he hasn't. So he'll be looking now to find where Erfan's base is. I'd maybe send a few paladins on their own to just scout out the area below and identify where Erfan's base is.
Yes, good point. Actually, you can see here, for some reason Erfan is sending Gary Monk and the boys in. It looks like he's looking to convert Jamie's villagers. This is a bit of a shock play, isn't it?
Yeah, this is a real wild card move, especially without the
What on
tech
earth?
researched. And he seems to be putting up an aggressive house here. I
Very
can't
aggressive house.
say I've ever seen this tactic before, but we'll see how it plays out. If I was Erfan here, I would be looking to use my excess wood and food to build some spearmen and also research some upgrades for those spearmen. I think that is how he will. This is the only way that he'll be able to cope with Jamie's paladins, which are marching towards Erfan's base, or at least in that direction. Remember, Jamie does not know where Erfan's base is at the moment, but he probably does have some sort of idea of where it'll be.
Maybe this is a sign of a potential truce here. I mean, you see both players building houses next to each other. This is something I've never seen in Age of Empires.
Yeah, it looks like both teams are trying to flex and try to show their superiority by building more houses. Jamie's seen Erfan build some aggressive houses here, and he's saying, "Look, I can match you all day. I can build 3-4 times as many houses. This is my house."
Actually,
And we can see
it looks like that friendliness is has got a sour twist. It would appear that Jamie certainly sent his paladins into play. Those monks trying desperately to convert these knight units, however, it seems in vain at this point.
I think Jamie's main army is getting close to Erfan's second base now. I'm not sure it's quite found it yet.
That's a good point. Yes, moving back to the action, he's found Erfan's base. This could potentially be the end game. Dare I say it?
I think it's hard to see a way back for Erfan now, yeah.
Indeed. Moving down, let's just see. I mean, Erfan's pretty limited in terms of military units. He hasn't got a lot to defend himself from Jamie's attack.
Yeah, I think it'll be difficult here, especially with those cannons, which are going to break through that wall quite quickly.
Jamie's units are through now. Look at that. One by one, they march in. And actually, speaking of the cutting down of the rainforest in the top right, it looks like Jamie's just been able to walk straight into Erfan's new base.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
that's
Something Erfan should have looked into, something he should have patched up, but unfortunately hasn't been able to.
Yes, I mean, it's dire scenes for Erfan at this point. It looks like he's rung the bell, and actually rung the bell again as the villagers go back into the town centre. If you were one of Erfan's beloved villagers at this point, what would you be thinking?
I'd be terrified for my life, to be honest, Joel.
I'd be terrified, yeah. I'd be hoping that Erfan would resign quite quickly. I feel this might be unlikely. I feel Erfan will try to drag out the game as long as possible and maybe spread some villages around the map.
Well, you can see there it's unfortunately a pretty gruesome end for Erfan's villagers. It's worth noting that his base has just been demolished in, it seems like, a minute or two. I mean,
very quick, yeah.
It's looking at the timer here, we're actually just over an hour into the match, and it looks like we have a clear winner at this point. Just moving north into the map, whilst Erfan might be dead and buried, he does have 2 relics.
Yeah, unbelievable scenes here, Joel. Can't believe Jamie's just wiped the floor with Erfan really in this match.
He has, and you know, I'm searching for the last of Erfan's units. You can see one there trying to scurry away.
I don't believe Jamie has a castle yet to be able to buy spies.
I'm sure that will be on the roadmap for Jamie very soon. Looking at his economy. However, he does have a number of idle villagers. It looks like Jamie really is prioritizing warfare over economy here.
At this point, I'm not sure it makes much difference, to be honest.
Yeah, I can't blame him at this stage for trying to finish Erfan off and just try to find all his villagers.
Agreed. Interestingly, it does look like Erfan is building what you could arguably call a second base. However, he doesn't seem to have a town centre. Looking around the map here, he's really going to struggle to rebuild those villages if he's not careful. Actually, speaking of the devil, maybe he's listening into the stream. There's the town centre. He goes again.
Yeah, you can't stop this boy. He will fight till the final whistle. But yeah, it's hard to see how he will come back from this. But it's good to see him fighting on and giving it his best shot.
Agreed. No, you can't put him down. You certainly can't. Erfan will fight to the bitter end. I'm actually just going to look around the map here and see, because it appears that Erfan does have a number of random units just scattered around the map. It's relatively weird that he's decided to have, for instance, these 3 archers just in the corner of the map completely.
Yeah, it'd be worth him just throwing them into Jamie's base, just causing a little bit of disruption. But yeah, perhaps he's just forgotten about them for the moment and focusing on getting that new town centre up and getting those relics in the bag.
Indeed. There are 2 relics up for grabs, and they're all but certain to be James at this point. Yes, there they are. It's going to be a real uphill battle for them to get those 2 relics back.
Yeah, I'm sure he will be trying. I'm not sure if he'll be able to do it. But yeah, we'll wait and see on that one.
Yeah, it's going to be an uphill battle then. I mean, Jamie, certainly dominant in terms of resources, now going to have 2 relics. He's going to have a seamless supply of gold. Is there really anything stopping him from winning this game?
I don't think so, Joel. You can see now, looking at the scores, Jamie has a 5 times lead over Erfan. He can try as much as he wants, but there's no way back into this game for him.
Yes, it's very hard to look beyond a Jamie victory at this point. We'll focus in on Erfan's 3rd base, actually, at this rate. Interestingly, his villages are relatively dormant. They seem idle. What do you think Erfan is doing right now?
Yeah, it looks like Erfan is maybe launching a bit of an attack on Jamie's base with those spare spearmen we were talking about. Perhaps that's got his attention at the moment. But yes, he should be trying to get his economy up and running if he does stand any chance.
Yeah, that's a great point. You can see there, Erfan is trying to take down Jamie's base brick by his single pikeman. So, actually coming back to that, he's certainly using it to his advantage. However, it might take him years to bring down this base with his 1-man army. What do you think?
Yeah, I think if it brings down this house, it will be just a constellation goal here. I think it's too little, too late, and you can see Jamie's paladins are coming in to neutralize the threat.
Jamie taking no chances there, sending in what seems like 10 paladins for 1 unit. He is definitely flexing his dominance at this point of the game.
Yeah, it looks like Jamie's wrapped this up, but he doesn't want to be complacent. I think that's wise. Pikemen are strong against paladins, so he wants to bring in a few paladins there and just make sure he takes out that threat.
Yeah, that's a great point. Obviously, distinct lack of wonders at this point. Do you think this is part of Jamie's strategy? Do you think he's going to be looking to build any before he demolishes Erfan once and for all? I mean, I'm personally a great admirer of wonders.
I think it's likely we might see Erfan start a wonder. I think that seems like the only route that he'll be going down now. It's just whether he can get those resources in, and then whether he has the villagers to complete it before Jamie finds his base.
Has Erfan made it to the Imperial Age?
Well, I'll stop you there. It looks like Jamie's actually putting his focus and attention on wondering whether the Earth is flat or round. It appears he's sending his 6 units to the corner of the map. What do you think those units would be thinking right now that they seem to end up in some sort of void?
Yeah, it's interesting you should say that. I think they'll be looking at the void and thinking, I don't know what that is. They probably want to return and maybe scout another area of the map because it's for sure that Erfan's base isn't there. It'll be interesting to see what Jamie can see with the fog of war on. See if he's able to see where Erfan's villages are. I think he has spotted a few of Erfan's villages, and they seem to be trapped there in a dead end. And Erfan and Jamie's knights are coming in for the kill.
They are indeed. They are going to that other corner of this this flat Earth. Surely it's only a matter of time before these villagers are defeated. Let's have a look now. Interestingly, turning fog of war off, Jamie's decided to retreat. Or not. He's circled around.
Yeah, he might be thinking that he's got the last of Erfan's villages here, but that isn't the case. He will have to do some more scouting yet.
Yes, it looks like the attempts to build a lumber camp are relatively futile at this point. Those villages are dead and buried. Let's have a look. Let's see how Erfan's base is getting on. It looks like he's focused on military units. He's certainly aware of Jamie's strength. What do you think Erfan should be doing in his next steps to recovering his economy?
I think it's wise he's gone down the pikemen option. They will be the most effective counter to Jamie's paladins. I don't feel it'll be enough. Too little, too late, because Jamie has maxed out his population almost. I think now he does need to get those pikemen in, but he also needs to build some more villages and get some more food and then some more wood. It does look like he's launching a bit of an offensive here. It will be interesting to see how this plays out. I can't see Jamie losing this one, but it might give away where Erfan's second base is, or third base.
Yeah,
we'll see how this pans out.
I was surprised about the counter-attack. I think obviously Erfan didn't know, but Jamie actually scouted this corner of the map early in the game and found no units. So probably Jamie's thinking that there's nothing there. But of course now Erfan has created the space after that, and it wouldn't be somewhere that Jamie would think to look necessarily. So by leading those units out to that base, he risks exposing himself.
Indeed. It looks like there is a scrap. Could be one of the last scraps we see in this game if Jamie wins and is proven to be dominant here. However, these pikemen are giving up certainly a good fight.
Yeah, the pikemen are very effective against the paladins, but the paladins are just so heavy that even though they're not effective, they are still holding their own. And he's got some good value out of those pikemen, but Jamie's force is just too much here.
Yes, they certainly are chunky boys. It appears Jamie has won the battle, but has he won the war? You can see he has just under 10 units here available to him. At this point, I wonder whether he does actually understand that Erfan's base is there. Based on his fog of war, he knows that Erfan certainly has 2 farms. Is it only a matter of minutes before Jamie launches his final attack?
Yeah, you'd think he'd know where Erfan's base is now. You can see him bringing up some more troops. I'd imagine that he would push on, but yeah, it's whether he realizes that those farms are Erfan's current base and not his old base.
It's a great point. Speaking of, actually, it appears that Jamie is going for the kill. He is joining up his various armies, and you know, I try to think what Erfan is thinking right now. This could be the end.
Yeah, I've been very impressed with how Jamie's conducted himself this match. He's been professional throughout, concentrated his economy early, survived that first attack, and has really exploded since. It's been a very strong performance from Jamie today.
Yeah, very sharp from him. You can tell he's put some hours into the training ground because he was certainly sharper here. Even with the early aggression, I thought that the early aggression from Erfan might throw him off his game plan, but he was able to stick to it, which has been very impressive.
Yes, indeed, and it looks like, unless a miracle does occur, it looks like Jamie has.
Erfan's trying to sneak out some units.
He loves.
Jamie's trying to chase him down though. Instead of just sending the knights to chase down, sent with pikemen, which obviously slowed them down.
Again, Jamie is brutal in the attack, sending what seems like 15 paladins to kill one villager. He isn't taking any chances.
We talked about his how professional he is. He's not complacent.
There it is. There it is. Wow, what a match! Within an hour and a half, it is Jamie who reigns victorious on Best Boys Sports. What an event that has just played out before us. Boys, what's your immediate reaction?
I'm very, very impressed. I want to congratulate Jamie on a fantastic performance today. Deserved winner. Fantastic display of how early economy gives you late game rewards. Proper example of how to play the game.
Indeed.
Yeah, commiserations to Erfan. He put up a good fight, and especially at the end, he didn't give up at all. But yeah, Jamie just too strong today. He went in with that fast castle night rush game plan, and he didn't let Erfan's early skirmishes distract him from that, and he was able to stick to that plan and dominate the game from there.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see the stats for this one.
Agreed, and we will have a look and see actually if we can get these stats on the game. We can indeed. Let me just have these loaded up for you, and we can do some post-match analysis. What do you think of the scores on the doors?
Yeah, obviously Erfan's economy a lot less than Jamie's there, although it is very nice. Yeah, you can see his military just didn't match up. And yeah, he wasn't able to even get any society score because, of course, he lost those relics at the end. Very interesting that no castles were placed in that game. I know Erfan is a big fan of the castle, but wasn't able to get any up. And then Jamie was on the front foot, so didn't really need any castles. Interesting game.
Interesting, yes, indeed. Actually, we'll move on to the military stats. This is where predominantly the game was played. You can see certainly a strong showing from Jamie in terms of units killed, 184 in fact, and a lot of blazing up and a lot of blazing down in terms of buildings being destroyed there.
Yeah, Jamie loves to raise buildings. It's interesting that Erfan didn't manage to raise a single building despite his early aggression. It just shows that his early raids just weren't strong enough, although they did kill quite a few of Jamie's villagers.
Indeed. But credit to his Gary Mongami, converting 6 units. An impressive feat considering he was under the cosh for the majority of the game there.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way. Jamie was able to get some dominance and control the game in the mid-game.
Indeed. We'll move on to the economy stats. This is certainly where the flex is strongest. You can see Jamie there. He's into the thousands for pretty much the majority of all 4 different materials there. Food being his speciality. Actually, food almost being the speciality for both players. You can see that they probably had similar ways of thinking in terms of what material they need to build units.
Yeah, we could see that Erfan adapted and went for the spearmen line when he saw that he was up against a lot of paladins. So hence the food and wood, a lot of food and wood there from Erfan. Jamie going for a lot of food because he does need to make those paladins, and a lot of gold too. I think just the key for him was bombard cannons and paladins. I think those were the 2 units, and that strong economy did help him get the blacksmith upgrades. And it was difficult to Erfan there because he couldn't match him on numbers, and he also couldn't match him on strength.
Very good point. Yes, indeed. Let's move on to technology stats. You can see here the incredibly steady progression of age. Oh, actually, Erfan, welcome to the show. It appears we have our first competitor on.
Have
Put the
I
timeline up, Joel.
joined too early?
Commiserations, Erfan.
Hi, Erfan.
Thank you.
How did you feel that match went?
That was great fun. I loved it. I was trying to build nice cities, and then some guy just kept attacking me. It was very annoying.
Where do you think that game was won and lost today?
Well, I wasn't really trying, was I? So just lost in terms of military. I was just going at a nice little pace, but obviously Jamie had something to prove, and he did that quite well. He executed it quite well. He had his micromanagement on point in this game, and it was a good, enjoyable game. The boys are a bit sad of the results. I've told them not to worry; they'll always be next week, and back to training board and 3 points next week, please.
You got some good value out of your militia in the early game. Managed to get some villager kills. Did you think the game was in the bag at that point? Did you think you had the upper hand?
No, not really. I was just trying to pester Jamie and just wind him up a bit. I thought it was quite good fun. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a bit of friendly banter. And Jamie then built up his army and came round and absolutely destroyed me.
Yes. So, Erfan, I certainly noticed that you built many bases. 3 in fact.
Did, yes.
Was this all part of the tactic, or was this certainly just playing in reaction to Jamie being on the front foot?
I was obviously getting hammered during various points in that, so I thought I'd just make various towns just to try and salvage something, just to keep the game going. Obviously, it was going to end after about 10 minutes after Jamie started, but then he stopped attacking, which is bit bizarre. I would have just kept going if I was him, and that would have been the end of that. But he obviously decided to keep the game a bit more interesting.
And thank you for joining us, Erfan. It's very kind of you to share your thoughts and experiences from the game. But we've actually got Jamie here with us. Jamie, congratulations on a fantastic victory. How did that go for you?
He's on mute.
I've been muted by Cameron, actually.
No, you haven't, actually. You're back. Let's go.
Oh, hello. It's never easy to go out there against such a tough competitor. You always know you're going to get a challenge with Erfan. I'm just happy that I had the resources to do what I needed to do out there and win the game.
Where do you think that game was won and lost today, Jamie?
Oh, God, so many places. The start was definitely a place where it was won and lost. The end, I think, was quite important, because it was won and lost right at the end. Because someone hadn't won and then someone had won, and you can't get changing that in the game. It really changed the dynamics of the game, I think.
Yeah, very true. I noticed you didn't mention the middle. Was that not important for you today?
No, absolutely. Yeah. I was happy with my tactics in the middle. I've come to expect playing against Erfan now. He's gonna scurry away off into bits of the map that I haven't looked at yet, but it's just a matter of persisting, scouting where you can. I'm just really relieved that I was able to come away with the win today.
Yeah, we were very impressed in your economy and how you managed to expand that quite early on. You've been practicing.
Well, me and my coach were focusing on that a lot in the off season, and it's just really good to see that all that hard work has paid off.
Fantastic. Does anyone else have any questions for either of our contestants today?
Yeah, boys, obviously a great game. Tightly contested. I know Morris and I certainly, before the game, we predicted a draw. Certainly, if I was a betting man, I would have gone for a draw myself. Interestingly, there were no castles, and more importantly, there were no wonders built in the game. Was this part of your tactics, or was this something that you guys might have considered should the game have lasted longer?
Well, it's well known in the circles that I travel in that I'm a really big fan of wonders. Love them. Think they're really essential to any key game plan. They just didn't fit into the plan that I had today. You've got to change your tactics for each opponent, and I was able to get the win without the wonders today.
Yeah. Those tactics certainly worked, and they played out well for you today. Erfan, how about yourself, or were you just on the back foot the whole time?
Yeah, I just couldn't get my men to build anything to show off. I was very much trying to defend from the off. Yeah, it was a bit disappointing. I was trying to get a couple of wonders and a couple of castles in, all built in a nicely arranged city, but obviously just didn't get around to it.
Yeah, so you had a strong showing with your relics as well, and certainly Gary Monk and the boys were definitely out to play today. What are your comments in terms of walking into Jamie's base and not only trying to convert his unit, but also trying to build a house in the middle of the town centre? What was your thinking there?
I just thought give Jamie a bit of a surprise, and just thought it'd be quite funny to build a house in his base.
We've actually got a question in from one of our viewers back home. This is from Mr. Tom Chess. I'll direct this first at you, Erfan. Is there anything you would do differently?
Yeah, win. That's about it, really.
Yeah.
Jamie,
one last question.
Build a wonder, I presume.
Well, obviously that goes without saying, build a wonder. And then number 2 on the list would be to make sure that my army was outnumbering Erfan from the start. He caused me a few problems there with the militia. You know, come to expect that playing against him. Just happy I was able to pull through.
I bet that was an early fright for yourself. Were you expecting him to be so aggressive in the early game? No,
definitely not. I mean, I was thinking maybe he'd have a feudal attack, but I wasn't expecting to go for that still in the Dark Age. That's but that's just a sign of what an innovative player he is, along with the house that he built in my town centre. You never know what you're going to expect with Erfan, so you've got to be prepared for anything.
Yeah, he's a feudally boy indeed. Dan, do you have any questions for the boys?
Well, the only question I have is when's the rematch?
Hey, Best Boy Sports exclusive.
I'm sure we'll be sorting something out. Jamie, which
charity
charity would you like to donate the prize pot of £15 to?
I would like to donate it to the Trestle Trust, please, Dan.
Very good choice.
A great choice.
And I would encourage anyone to chuck a £5 in to the pot, make this more of a success than it already has been.
Well, I think everyone could agree that was a fantastic match today. I very much enjoyed it. I hope you did at home. I just want to thank you all for tuning in, and thank you very much to my colleagues here in the studio, Joel and Dan, and thank you very much to our players. It's been a fantastic match.
Cheers.
Thank you very much, Cameron.
I hope to see you all here again on Wololos here at Best Boy Sports. Thank you very much.